Have you ever felt stuck? Like you're working tirelessly but getting nowhere? You're told to be humble, to put others first. You're taught that ambition is unsightly, that true success comes from playing by the rules. Yet you see others effortlessly navigating the world, achieving their goals with a grace that seems almost predestined. You see, most people misunderstand the nature of power. They see it as something inherently negative, something to be feared and avoided. This misunderstanding stems from a fundamental misreading of human nature. We are, all of us, engaged in a constant, often unconscious struggle for power and influence. Well, in this video, I'm going to reveal the timeless principles of power, principles that transcend the boundaries of history, culture, and profession. These principles, when understood and applied strategically, can unlock a world of opportunity, propelling you towards your goals with newfound confidence and influence. But I'm not talking about brute force or manipulation. True power resides in understanding the subtle dynamics of human behavior, in mastering the art of persuasion, and in cultivating an aura of authority that draws others to you. This video will be your guide, your roadmap to navigating this complex terrain. The first law, never outshine the master, is often misinterpreted as a call for subservience, for shrinking yourself to appease those in positions of authority. But this is a shallow reading of a profound principle. True power lies not in blatant displays of superiority, but in the subtle art of managing perceptions. Think of the court of a powerful ruler. Those who rise to prominence are not always the most brilliant or talented, but rather those who understand the delicate balance of demonstrating their worth without eclipsing the ruler's own brilliance. They excel at making their superiors feel secure in their position, even as they subtly guide and influence them from the shadows. This principle applies not only to monarchs and their courts but to any hierarchical structure, from corporations to social circles. By mastering this law, you learn to navigate these hierarchies with grace and cunning, subtly demonstrating your value without triggering the insecurities of those above you. Remember, true power is often exercised indirectly. By allowing others to feel superior, you disarm their defenses, creating an environment where your influence can flourish. This is the essence of strategic self-promotion, a dance of deference and calculated advancement. The second law, never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. We are often told that friendship is a sacred bond, a refuge from the harsh realities of the world. While genuine connection is undoubtedly valuable, blind trust can be a fatal flaw in your quest for power. Friends, often more than enemies, are prone to envy, jealousy, and the subtle erosion of loyalty over time. Remember, true power requires a degree of detachment, a clear-eyed assessment of human nature. Friends with their inherent biases and emotional attachments can cloud your judgment and impede your progress. They may offer well-intentioned but ultimately misguided advice, or worse, become unwitting pawns in the games of your rivals. History is replete with cautionary tales of those who place too much trust in friends, only to be betrayed and ultimately destroyed. Julius Caesar, arguably the most powerful man in the Roman Republic, met his demise at the hands of his supposed friends and allies. This is not to say that you should view all relationships with suspicion and paranoia. Rather, it is a call to cultivate a discerning eye, to recognize that even the closest of friends can become liabilities in your pursuit of power. Law 3. Conceal your intentions. The third law, conceal your intentions, is often misunderstood as an encouragement for outright lying or manipulation. This is a dangerously simplistic interpretation. True power lies not in blatant deceit, but in mastering the art of subtle misdirection. Think of a grandmaster in chess, never revealing their true objective until the very moment the opponent walks into their carefully laid trap. You must become the grandmaster of your own life, shrouding your aspirations in a veil of ambiguity. Your goals are your own. Revealing them prematurely only gives others the opportunity to obstruct your path, to erect barriers where none existed before. Instead, let them focus on your carefully curated facade, a smokescreen of seemingly harmless actions and pronouncements. Remember, predictability breeds contempt. The less others know about your true intentions, the more power you hold. They move through the world reacting to you while you, the puppet master, remain steps ahead. Law 4. Always say less than necessary. We live in a world obsessed with noise, a cacophony of opinions and pronouncements vying for our attention. Yet true power lies not in adding to the clamor, but in harnessing the power of silence, in mastering the art of saying less than necessary. Words are a double-edged sword. Used carelessly, they can betray your true thoughts, expose your vulnerabilities, and diminish your power. Each word uttered is an opportunity for misinterpretation, for creating unintended consequences that can spiral out of control. Silence, on the other hand, is a weapon of immense power. It creates an aura of mystery, a sense of depth and intrigue. When you speak sparingly, your words carry weight. They command attention, demanding to be analyzed and dissected for their hidden meanings. Remember, those who speak incessantly often reveal more than they intend. They become predictable, transparent, easy to manipulate, but the master of silence, the one who chooses their words with care, remains an enigma, a force to be reckoned with. Law 5. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. Reputation. It is the bedrock upon which empires are built and destroyed. It is a currency more valuable than gold, more potent than any army. Your reputation precedes you, shaping perceptions, opening doors, and influencing outcomes before you utter a single word. A strong reputation is a fortress, shielding you from attacks, instilling confidence in your allies, and striking fear into the hearts of your enemies. It is a beacon that attracts opportunity, drawing others to your cause, eager to bask in your reflected glory. But a reputation, once tarnished, can be devastatingly difficult to repair. Like a delicate tapestry, it can be ripped apart by the smallest of threads, leaving behind a tattered remnant of its former glory. Therefore, guard your reputation with vigilance. Be wary of those who seek to undermine you, to spread falsehoods and sow seeds of doubt. Their envy is a testament to your power, but their whispers, if left unchecked, can erode even the strongest foundations. Law 6. Court attention. This law is often misunderstood as a call for ostentatious displays of wealth or power. This is a grave misinterpretation. True power lies not in desperate cries for attention, but in cultivating an aura that draws people in. Think of the sun. It does not beg for notice, yet its gravity commands the entire solar system. This law is about strategic visibility. It's about making your presence felt in the spaces that matter, by the people who matter. It's about understanding that the greatest form of attention is not fleeting glances, but rapt focus, drawn to your words, your actions, your very essence. Cultivating an air of mystery, mastering the art of timing, and ensuring your actions speak louder than words. These are the tools of the individual who understands the power of strategic attention. Remember, the goal is not to be the loudest voice in the room, but to be the one that lingers in the mind long after the room has emptied. We live in a world saturated with noise, a constant barrage of information vying for our attention. To cut through this chaos, you must become a beacon of clarity, of purpose, of intrigue. That is the essence of courting attention in its most powerful form. Law 7. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. This law may seem like a blueprint for manipulation and deceit. However, this is a superficial reading. True mastery lies in understanding the deeper principles at play: delegation, leadership, and the strategic use of influence. The most effective leaders throughout history have understood this law intuitively. They recognize that their time and energy are precious resources, not to be squandered on tasks that can be delegated to others. This is not exploitation, it is efficient allocation of resources. By delegating effectively, you free yourself to focus on higher-level strategy, vision, and decision-making. You become an architect, designing the blueprint, while others contribute their skills to the construction. This is not about shirking responsibility, it is about maximizing your impact. However, delegation without recognition is a recipe for resentment. A true leader understands the importance of acknowledging the contributions of others, of publicly celebrating their successes, and attributing credit where it is due. This fosters loyalty, encourages excellence, and strengthens the bonds of collaboration. The 8th law, make other people come to you, use bait if necessary, often evokes images of manipulation and cunning. It suggests a strategic approach where one uses allure and attraction to draw others in. However, a deeper understanding reveals a principle as old as civilization itself, the irresistible allure of power. This principle is not about deceit, but about creating a magnetic pull that others cannot resist. Throughout history, those who have understood this law have risen to positions of immense influence. They have mastered the art of making themselves the focal point, the center of attention and desire. They recognize that true power lies not in chasing after others, but in making oneself the epicenter, the desired destination. By doing so, they create a gravitational pull that naturally attracts people towards them. Think of the great cities of the world. They do not chase after residents. They offer a potent mix of opportunity, culture, and excitement, drawing people in like moths to a flame. These cities become hubs of activity and ambition, simply by being what they are. In the human realm, this bait takes on many forms. It could be the promise of wealth or status, the allure of a better life, or the chance to be part of something greater, the allure of knowledge or connection, the opportunity to learn and grow, or to be part of a community, or simply the irresistible pull of a magnetic personality. Charisma and charm can be powerful tools in drawing people towards you. The key is to identify what your audience desires most, what motivates their actions, and to offer it in a way that feels both irresistible and attainable. Understanding their needs and wants is crucial. However, a word of caution, the bait must be genuine. Authenticity is essential in building trust and long-lasting relationships. False promises and empty gestures will only breed resentment and distrust. Authenticity is key. People can sense insincerity, and it will ultimately backfire. Offer something of real value, something that genuinely benefits the other party, and you will find them far more receptive to your advances. When people see that you have their best interests at heart, they will naturally gravitate towards you. Law 9. Win through your actions, never through argument. The world often mistakes eloquence for wisdom. We are drawn to those who can weave elaborate arguments, who can charm with their words. But true power lies not in persuasion, but in demonstration. Observe those who rise to the top, who command respect without demanding it. They are often people of action, not just words. Their deeds resonate louder than any rhetoric. This is not to say that words are meaningless. On the contrary, they hold their own kind of power. Yet, when it comes to achieving your goals, to influencing others, actions are the most potent tools in your arsenal. Words can be twisted, misinterpreted, forgotten. Actions are undeniable. Remember, the goal is not to win an argument but to win over hearts and minds. And this victory is achieved through the quiet force of your actions, the irrefutable evidence of your competence and commitment. Law 10. Infection. Avoid the unhappy or the unlucky. Emotions, like diseases, can spread with alarming speed and virulence. Just as you would avoid contact with a carrier of plague, so too should you shield yourself from the chronic negativity of others. The perpetually unhappy, the perpetually unlucky, exude a toxic aura. They drain your energy, cloud your judgment, and subtly infect you with their own self-defeating beliefs. This doesn't mean you should become cold-hearted or indifferent to the struggles of others. True empathy involves recognizing the potential for emotional contagion and protecting yourself accordingly. Remember, your own mental and emotional well-being is paramount. To navigate the world effectively, to achieve your goals and fulfill your potential, you must cultivate an inner sanctuary free from the insidious influence of negativity. Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you. Dependency is often misconstrued as weakness, a state to be avoided at all costs. Yet, in the intricate dance of power, it is a currency more valuable than gold. To cultivate dependence is not to exploit or manipulate, but to make yourself indispensable. It is about providing value, offering something unique that others come to rely upon. This could be a particular skill, a unique perspective, or even access to resources or information. The key is to identify what others crave, what they need to succeed, and to position yourself as the gateway to their desires. The more reliant they become on your contributions, the more influence you wield. This is not about control, but about strategic positioning. Law 12. Law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. The world often teaches us to be wary, to keep our guard up, our defenses strong. We are conditioned to believe that everyone is out to get us, that every interaction is a potential threat. We are told that showing vulnerability is a weakness to be exploited. This mindset creates a barrier, a mask that we wear to protect ourselves from perceived dangers. But this constant state of defense can be exhausting, a self-imposed prison that prevents us from forming genuine connections and seizing opportunities. It isolates us, making us feel alone, even in a crowd. True power lies not in impenetrable armor, but in knowing when to lower your defenses strategically. It's about understanding the right moments to show your true self. This is where the power of selective honesty and generosity comes in. By carefully choosing when to be open and when to be guarded, you can navigate social interactions with finesse. By choosing specific moments to reveal a vulnerability, to offer a genuine act of kindness, you disarm those around you. This calculated openness can turn potential adversaries into allies. They perceive this unexpected openness as a sign of strength, a confidence that allows you to move freely between guardedness and vulnerability. It shows that you are in control, not driven by fear. Imagine a lone pawn facing a formidable line of opposing pieces. The odds seem insurmountable, the situation dire. The natural instinct is to cower, to defend, to retreat and protect oneself from the impending threat. But imagine that pawn making a bold move forward, seemingly sacrificing itself. This act of bravery can change the entire dynamic of the game. This unexpected action throws the opponent off balance, forcing them to reevaluate the board, to question their assumptions. It creates a moment of hesitation and doubt. Such is the power of calculated vulnerability. It's a strategic tool that can shift the balance of power in your favor. It disrupts expectations, creating a space where you dictate the terms of engagement. You become the one who sets the rules. By mastering this delicate dance of openness and guardedness, you gain a strategic advantage in the game of life. It's a skill that can lead to both personal and professional success. Law 13. When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, never their mercy or gratitude. The world can be a harsh and unforgiving place. Individuals are often consumed by their own needs and desires, leaving little room for compassion or empathy. In such an environment, appealing to people's better angels, their sense of mercy or gratitude, is a losing strategy. We are conditioned from a young age to believe in the power of kindness, to expect reciprocity for our good deeds. But reality often proves otherwise. People forget favors quickly, they become burdened by obligations. And mercy, when granted, often comes with a price. Imagine yourself in a position of need, reaching out for assistance. You recount past acts of kindness, hoping to evoke a sense of obligation. But your pleas fall on deaf ears. The person you helped has moved on, their priorities have shifted, your generosity is a distant memory. This is the harsh reality of human nature. People are inherently self-interested. To secure their help, you must learn to speak their language, to frame your requests in a way that aligns with their own desires and ambitions. Law 14. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. Knowledge, they say, is power. But in the labyrinthine corridors of power, knowledge is often fragmented, concealed, and fiercely guarded. To navigate this treacherous landscape, you must become adept at gathering information, gleaning insights that others miss, and seeing through facades. This is where the art of strategic espionage comes into play. By adopting the guise of a friend, a confidant, you gain access to valuable intelligence, secrets whispered in moments of vulnerability, unguarded opinions shared in casual conversation. Imagine two individuals seemingly engaged in amicable conversation. One, however, is playing a deeper game. With every smile, every gesture of camaraderie, they are extracting information, piecing together a puzzle that will give them a decisive advantage. This is not about malice or deceit for its own sake. It is about understanding the motivations, the strengths and weaknesses of those around you. It is about arming yourself with the knowledge you need to make informed decisions and navigate complex social dynamics. Law 15. Crush your enemy totally. In the realm of power, we often misunderstand the nature of conflict. We hesitate, showing false mercy, believing that a half-defeated enemy poses no threat. This, my friends, is a grave error. A wounded animal is far more dangerous than a healthy one, driven by the desperation of survival and the sting of humiliation. History teaches us time and again, a crushed enemy cannot rise again. To leave even the smallest ember burning is to invite future conflagration. Total victory doesn't always mean physical annihilation. Sometimes it is the utter destruction of your enemy's reputation, their ability to influence, their power base. Consider the fate of those who fail to heed this law. They find themselves constantly looking over their shoulders, their energy sapped by the need to defend against the remnants of past battles. True power demands decisiveness. When the time comes to strike, Do so with unwavering resolve, leaving no room for doubt or resurgence. Law 16. Use absence to increase strength and honor. We often mistake constant presence for power. We believe that to be seen and heard incessantly is to be influential. Yet true power operates with a more subtle hand. Like a rare gemstone, it gains value through its scarcity. Consider the sun. A constant presence in the sky would scorch and blind. It is through its calculated absence, its descent below the horizon, that it allows for the cool respite of night, making its return all the more dazzling. So too should you master the art of calculated withdrawal. When you are always available, always present, your value diminishes. You become predictable, mundane, taken for granted. But when you make yourself scarce, you create an aura of mystery and desirability. Your absences become strategic moments of power, heightening anticipation and stoking the flames of curiosity. Law 17. Keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. Predictability breeds contempt. When people believe they know your every move, they lose their fear, their respect, and their willingness to submit to your influence. To maintain control, you must cultivate an aura of unpredictability, keeping those around you in a state of suspended terror. The natural world provides a powerful lesson in this regard. Consider the predator stalking its prey. It is the element of surprise, the unexpected attack, that ensures its success. The moment the prey senses the pattern, predicts the danger, it can prepare its defenses. In the game of power, predictability is akin to painting a target on your back. Your rivals will study your habits, anticipate your reactions, and exploit your weaknesses. By embracing unpredictability, you become a force to be reckoned with, a master of surprise, capable of keeping your opponents off balance and in a perpetual state of uncertainty. Law 18. Be a source of hope. Promise nothing, deliver everything. In the realm of power, we often encounter those who wield hope like a double-edged sword. They make grand pronouncements, weaving intricate tapestries of future successes, yet their words ring hollow, devoid of substance. These individuals, masters of empty promises, prey on the vulnerabilities of others, exploiting their desire for a brighter tomorrow. They offer false hope, a seductive mirage that vanishes upon closer inspection. Such tactics may grant fleeting influence, but their power proves ephemeral. Like Icarus, who soared too close to the sun, those who rely on empty promises will inevitably face a downfall, their credibility shattered by the weight of their unfulfilled oaths. True power lies not in manipulating hope, but in becoming a genuine source of it. Law 19. Know when to play the fool. In the grand theater of power, there exists a pervasive misconception that seriousness equates to strength. We are taught to don a mask of stoicism, to conceal vulnerability behind an impenetrable facade of solemnity. Yet this relentless pursuit of gravitas can often backfire, casting us as rigid, unapproachable, and even suspicious. The constant display of seriousness creates distance, hindering our ability to forge genuine connections and navigate the intricate dance of human interaction. Observe the court jester, a figure often underestimated yet possessing a unique form of influence. Shrouded in the guise of folly, the jester enjoys a rare freedom, able to speak truths that others dare not utter. Their humor, a potent weapon against pomposity and pretension, disarms opponents and allows them to navigate the court with surprising agility. This, then, is the essence of playing the fool, a calculated vulnerability that disarms and ultimately empowers. Law 20. Do not commit to anyone. In a world rife with shifting alliances and hidden agendas, the allure of commitment can be a siren song, promising security and unwavering support. Yet this promise often proves illusory, a dangerous trap that limits our freedom and leaves us vulnerable to manipulation. Observe those who readily pledge their allegiance to a single cause or individual. They become entangled in webs of obligation, their actions dictated by external forces rather than their own strategic calculations. Their loyalty, while seemingly admirable, blinds them to alternative paths and potential opportunities. They become beholden to the whims of others, their destinies no longer their own. True power demands autonomy. Law 21. Play the perfect courtier. The modern world often misinterprets the courtier as a servile flatterer. This is a grave mistake. True courtiers are masters of navigating the human terrain of power. They understand that success lies not in brute force but in subtle influence. in becoming indispensable to those in positions of authority. Think of the courtier as a gardener tending to a delicate ecosystem. They know when to cultivate favor, when to offer discreet advice, and when to simply blend into the background. This is not about suppressing your own ambition, but rather channeling it through the intricate dance of courtly life. The key to mastering this law is understanding its paradoxical nature. You must be both charming and cunning, agreeable yet subtly assertive. It's a delicate balancing act that requires keen observation, emotional intelligence, and a deep understanding of human psychology. In the following sections, we will delve into these specific strategies that will transform you from a passive observer into a master of the court. Law 22. Use the surrender tactic. When overmatched, give up and regroup. The modern world glorifies perseverance, the idea that we must fight tooth and nail for every inch of ground. But this relentless pursuit of victory can blind us to a more strategic path, the power of strategic surrender. Surrender in this context is not about weakness or defeat. It's about recognizing when to conserve your energy, when to choose your battles wisely. Just as a general might strategically retreat to regroup and fight another day, so too must you learn to recognize when a temporary withdrawal is in your best interest. Fighting every battle, even those you are destined to lose, only depletes your resources and undermines your credibility. By choosing to surrender strategically, you preserve your strength, maintain your reputation, and gain valuable time to reassess and plan your next move. Law 23. Concentrate your forces. In a world of endless distractions and competing demands, we often fall into the trap of dispersing our energy, scattering our focus like seeds in the wind. We convince ourselves that multitasking is the key to productivity, but in reality, it only leads to diluted efforts and mediocre results. True power lies in concentration, in channeling all of your energy and focus into a single, well-defined point. Just as a magnifying glass can harness the sun's rays to ignite a fire, so too can focused intention amplify your efforts, transforming potential into tangible results. This principle applies not only to your actions, but also to your thoughts and emotions. When you allow your mind to be hijacked by worries, anxieties, or distractions, you dissipate your mental energy, leaving you feeling drained and ineffective. The first step towards mastering this law is to identify your primary goal, the one objective that will have the most significant impact on your life. Once you have defined your target, ruthlessly eliminate distractions and focus all of your energy on achieving that singular aim. Concentrating your forces is not about limiting yourself to a single path. It's about prioritizing your efforts and aligning them with your ultimate objective. Law 24. Play the perfect courtier. In the vast chessboard of life, each of us plays a role within a complex web of social dynamics. Misunderstand this, see it as beneath you, and you will find yourself continually checked and defeated. To truly wield power, we must master the art of the courtier, adapting to the ever-shifting terrain of human interaction. This is not about manipulation or deceit, but about understanding the unspoken language of power, the subtle cues and signals that govern human behavior. To be a master courtier is to be a master of perception, reading the room, and presenting yourself in a way that commands respect and influence. The true courtier understands that power is often held by those who appear to possess none. They are masters of observation, listening more than they speak, and using their insights to subtly guide the actions of others. They are chameleons, adapting to their surroundings, and reflecting back the desires and aspirations of those around them. This is the essence of playing the perfect courtier, mastering the delicate dance of social dynamics to achieve your aims. Law 25. Recreate yourself. We are all born into patterns, expectations, and limitations, but to truly grasp the reins of our destiny, we must be willing to shed these skins, to constantly reinvent and redefine ourselves. This is not about denying who we are, but about embracing the potential of who we can become. The world will try to confine you to a box, labeled with your past mistakes, your perceived limitations, the expectations of others. Do not let them. Embrace the liberating power of reinvention. You are not a static entity, but a work in progress, constantly evolving, adapting, and transcending your former self. This process of reinvention is not a singular event, but a continuous journey of self-discovery and transformation. It requires introspection, a willingness to confront your weaknesses and insecurities, and a relentless pursuit of growth. It is about shedding the layers that no longer serve you, embracing new perspectives and constantly pushing the boundaries of your potential. This is not a path for the faint of heart. It requires courage, self-belief, and an unwavering commitment to your own evolution. But the rewards are immeasurable, for in the crucible of reinvention, you forge a stronger, more resilient, and ultimately more powerful self. Law 26. Keep your hands clean. Power often attracts those who crave its intoxicating embrace, those who believe themselves above the fray, immune to consequence. This is a dangerous illusion. The higher you climb, the more visible your actions become, every misstep magnified under a harsh spotlight. To truly wield power effectively, one must master the art of indirection, of achieving your aims while maintaining a facade of innocence. This is not about cowardice, but about strategic maneuvering. It is about understanding that every action creates a reaction, and that true power lies in anticipating and controlling those reactions. The world is filled with those eager to bring down those in positions of power. Jealousy, envy, and resentment fester in the shadows, waiting for an opportunity to strike. Do not give them that opportunity. Keep your hands clean, your motives obscured, and your actions veiled in a shroud of plausible deniability. This is not about deception for the sake of deception, but about protecting yourself from unnecessary attacks. It is about understanding that the game of power is often won not by brute force but by cunning, strategy, and the ability to remain one step ahead of your rivals. Law 27. Play on people's need to believe in something. Humans possess an insatiable hunger for meaning, a yearning to believe in something larger than themselves. This deep-seated need, often overlooked, is a wellspring of immense power waiting to be tapped. To ignore this fundamental aspect of human nature is to deny yourself a potent tool for navigating the complexities of life. Many mistakenly assume this law necessitates manipulation and deceit. However, true power lies not in fabricating falsehoods but in understanding and channeling existing desires. Observe the narratives that resonate with your audience, identify the voids they seek to fill, and position yourself as the bridge between their yearnings and a greater purpose. By aligning yourself with their deepest desires, you become more than just an individual. You transform into a symbol, a beacon of hope. This is not about blatant exploitation, but about understanding the human need for belief and offering a vision that resonates with their aspirations. Remember, people are not always logical. They are driven by emotions, by a desire for purpose and connection. Law 28. Make yourself indispensable. In the relentless game of power, true security lies not in clinging to titles or possessions, but in becoming irreplaceable. This is not about mere competence. It's about cultivating a unique blend of skills and qualities that make you invaluable to those in power. Many fall into the trap of becoming indispensable through tireless work and unwavering loyalty. While admirable, these qualities alone are not enough. True indispensability stems from possessing something rare, something that sets you apart from the masses vying for attention. Identify your unique strengths, those inherent talents and acquired skills that distinguish you from the competition. Hone these abilities relentlessly, transforming them into weapons of influence. Become known for your mastery in a specific domain, a beacon of expertise that others rely upon. Law 29. Plan all the way to the end. Life is a turbulent sea, and those who navigate its treacherous currents without a clear destination are doomed to be tossed about by the whims of fate. To truly wield power, one must embrace the art of long-term planning, meticulously charting a course towards a predetermined objective. Many mistake impulsive action for decisiveness, charging blindly into the fray without considering the potential consequences. This is not power but recklessness disguised as boldness. True mastery lies in anticipating obstacles, calculating risks, and always maintaining a strategic advantage. Begin by clearly defining your ultimate goal, the pinnacle of your ambition. This is your North Star, the guiding light that illuminates your path even in the darkest of times. With this destination firmly etched in your mind, you can begin to construct a detailed plan, anticipating potential pitfalls and devising strategies to overcome them. Remember, the path to power is rarely linear. It is a winding road fraught with unexpected detours and unforeseen challenges. Flexibility is paramount. Embrace adaptability, remaining vigilant for opportunities to adjust your course while never losing sight of your ultimate objective. Law 30. Avoid staring down the abyss. Life is a turbulent sea, and at times the waves of despair will crash upon your shores. You may be tempted to stare into the abyss, to become consumed by the darkness that surrounds you, but I caution you, for the abyss stares back. Do not mistake this for a trite platitude. To achieve true power, you must master your emotional landscape. Despair is seductive, whispering promises of release, of an end to striving. Yet it is a siren song, leading only to paralysis and ruin. Those who have achieved greatness throughout history, the Caesars, the Napoleons, the Cleopatras, all understood this fundamental law. They faced their share of setbacks and betrayals, yet they never allowed themselves to be consumed by negativity. Instead, they cultivated an inner resilience, a steeliness of spirit that allowed them to navigate the storms of life and emerge stronger on the other side. Remember, power favors the bold, not those who surrender to despair. Law 31. Control the options. We often believe ourselves to be masters of our own destiny, free to make choices that shape our lives. Yet this perception of freedom can be an illusion, a carefully constructed facade that masks the strings being pulled behind the scenes. True power lies not in reacting to the options presented to you, but in controlling the very framework within which those choices are made. This is the art of subtle manipulation, of shaping the battlefield to your advantage. Consider the chess master, carefully maneuvering his pieces, anticipating his opponent's moves and subtly limiting their choices. He doesn't simply react to the game, he dictates its flow, forcing his opponent into increasingly constrained positions. This is the essence of controlling the options. By anticipating potential outcomes and strategically positioning yourself, you can subtly influence the decisions of others, steering them towards the choices that serve your goals. Law 32. Play the virgin. In the relentless pursuit of power, it's easy to become jaded, to view the world through a cynical lens. However, never underestimate the power of innocence, of appearing untouched by the grime and cynicism that surrounds you. The world is drawn to novelty, to that which seems pure and unspoiled. By cultivating an air of innocence, you disarm your opponents, lulling them into a false sense of security. This is not about naivete or weakness, but about strategic vulnerability. By presenting yourself as uncorrupted by the games of power, you become a blank slate upon which others project their own desires and fantasies. This projection creates a powerful opening, allowing you to observe their true intentions, gather valuable intelligence, and position yourself for a strategic advantage when the time is right. Law 33. Use double agents. In the labyrinth of power, knowledge is your most potent weapon, but information is often shrouded in deception, veiled by those who seek to manipulate you. To navigate this treacherous terrain, you must master the art of seeing through facades and discerning the true motives that lie beneath. One of the most effective tactics in this game of intrigue is the use of double agents. These individuals, seemingly aligned with your adversaries, operate as your eyes and ears within enemy lines. They feed you intelligence, sow discord, and can even subtly influence your opponent's actions to your advantage. However, the employment of double agents is a delicate dance. Misjudgment or misplaced trust can lead to your own downfall. You must learn to identify those susceptible to manipulation, individuals driven by greed, ambition, or a thirst for revenge. Their weaknesses become your leverage. Remember, in the realm of power, appearances are deceiving. Cultivate the ability to see beyond the surface, to discern the hidden agendas and unspoken desires that drive those around you. Only then can you effectively utilize double agents to your advantage and secure your position. Law 34. Master the art of timing. In the grand theater of life, timing is everything. It is the invisible conductor orchestrating the rise and fall of empires, the success and failure of individuals. To master the art of power, you must learn to dance to this rhythm, to anticipate the ebb and flow of events, and to act with impeccable timing. Many mistakenly believe that power is solely about brute force or relentless action, but true power lies in understanding when to act, when to wait, and when to strike with decisive force. Impatience can lead to rash decisions and missed opportunities, while hesitation can allow your enemies to seize the advantage. Consider the ancient wisdom of the farmer. He understands that planting too early or too late will result in a meager harvest. He patiently waits for the optimal time, carefully observing the seasons and the soil, ensuring that his efforts will bear the most bountiful fruit. Like the farmer, you must develop a keen sense of timing. Observe the currents of your environment, the movements of your rivals, and the subtle shifts in power dynamics. By patiently waiting for the opportune moment, you can maximize your impact and achieve your goals with far less effort. Law 35, build bases of power. Many chase the illusion of power, mistaking fleeting moments of influence for true mastery. They fail to understand that true power is not a temporary state but a structure, a fortress built upon solid foundations. These foundations are your bases of power, the resources, relationships, and systems that grant you leverage and influence within your chosen domain. Building these bases is not a matter of brute force or dominance, but of strategic accumulation. It requires a keen eye for opportunity, a willingness to cultivate valuable alliances, and the patience to nurture your resources over time. Consider the intricate web of a spider. Each strand, meticulously placed, contributes to the strength and resilience of the whole. A single thread may be weak, but together they form a formidable trap, capable of ensnaring prey far larger than the spider itself. Like the spider, you must strategically weave your own web of power. Identify the key areas where your influence can be established, be it within your organization, your industry, or your social circles. Cultivate relationships with those who hold power, gather valuable information, and build a network of support that will bolster your position over time. Law 36. Begin with the end in mind. The world is awash in those who wander through life with no clear destination, reacting to events as they unfold rather than dictating the terms. This is not a path to power, but to servitude. Do not mistake activity for achievement. Busyness can easily mask a lack of direction. To truly wield influence, you must begin with a clear vision of your desired end. Envision the future you desire as if it were already here. Feel its reality, its tangibility. This is not mere daydreaming, but the first crucial step in bending reality to your will. Without a destination in mind, you are susceptible to the whims and manipulations of others. You become a pawn in their games, your energy spent on fulfilling their ambitions, not your own. The world will readily offer you detours, distractions disguised as opportunities. By holding fast to your ultimate goal, you can discern the essential from the inconsequential, choosing paths that lead towards your desired end, and ruthlessly discarding those that do not. Law 37. Create a cult-like following. Power, in its purest form, is the ability to influence and inspire. To truly wield it, you must cultivate a following, a group of individuals who share your vision and are eager to champion your cause. This is not about brute force, but about creating a sense of belonging, of shared purpose. Human beings are inherently social creatures, craving connection and meaning. By tapping into this fundamental need, you can create a powerful force capable of moving mountains. Observe how successful movements throughout history have harnessed the power of shared beliefs, offering their followers a sense of identity and purpose. Your followers should see in you a reflection of their own aspirations, a symbol of what they themselves can achieve. Cultivate an aura of charisma and conviction. Let your passion be infectious, your confidence unwavering. Law 38. Think like a common man. The pursuit of power can be a seductive mistress, whispering promises of superiority and control. Resist this siren song. True power lies not in isolating yourself from the masses, but in understanding and connecting with them on a visceral level. The common man, often dismissed as simple or predictable, possesses a wisdom born of lived experience. To influence them, you must first shed any pretense of superiority and embrace the humility of truly understanding their hopes, fears, and desires. Do not mistake their straightforwardness for a lack of intelligence. The common man is adept at detecting artifice and pretense. They value authenticity above all else. To earn their trust, you must reflect their values, speak their language, and demonstrate a genuine understanding of their concerns. This does not mean pandering or lowering yourself to their level. Law 39. Play the innocent victim. The world in all its complexity often misinterprets the posture of innocence. We tend to associate it with weakness, with a naivete ripe for exploitation. But true power understands that vulnerability, strategically wielded, becomes an impenetrable shield. It disarms suspicion and lulls your opponents into a false sense of security. Consider the classic tale of the wolf in sheep's clothing. The wolf, a creature of cunning and predatory instinct, doesn't overpower its prey with brute force. Instead, It cloaks itself in an image of harmlessness, using the sheep's fleece as a disguise. This calculated vulnerability allows the wolf to move undetected, closer to its target, until the moment is right to strike. This, my friends, is the essence of playing the innocent victim. It's not about succumbing to weakness, but rather about embodying a carefully crafted persona. You become the lamb led astray, the misunderstood artist, the well-intentioned but wronged individual. This allows you to garner sympathy, deflect blame, and ultimately gain a strategic advantage in your interactions. Remember, the world is drawn to those who appear vulnerable. Law 40. Despise the free spirit. In a world obsessed with individuality and self-expression, the allure of the free spirit is undeniable. We see it in the vibrant streets, in the art that defies norms, and in the fashion that breaks boundaries. We romanticize those who appear unbound by convention, who dance to the beat of their own drum, seemingly beholden to no one. They are the dreamers, the artists, the ones who seem to live life on their own terms. But this fascination with the free spirit, my friends, is a dangerous illusion, a siren song that can lead us astray from the path of true power. It is a mirage that promises freedom, but often delivers chaos. For the free spirit, in its purest form, is a chaotic entity, driven by whim and impulse rather than by strategy and foresight. Their lives are a whirlwind of spontaneous decisions and scattered thoughts. They are slaves to their own fleeting desires, constantly shifting direction, forever chasing after the ephemeral promise of the next great adventure. Their journey is one of perpetual motion, but often without a clear destination. They may possess a certain charm, a carefree spirit that draws others in, but their lack of focus and discipline ultimately renders them ineffective in the grand game of power. Their charisma can only take them so far. Their independence, so often celebrated, becomes their undoing. They walk away from the very alliances that could provide stability and strength. They shun alliances, seeing them as shackles that bind and restrict. They fail to see the potential in collaboration, the power that comes from shared goals and mutual support. They fail to recognize that true power lies not in isolation, but in the strategic cultivation of relationships and dependencies. It is through these connections that influence is wielded and empires are built. They are islands unto themselves, and while this may offer a temporary illusion of freedom, it ultimately leaves them vulnerable and exposed in a world where collaboration and influence reign supreme. Isolation is a weakness, not a strength. Remember, the free spirit is a ship without an anchor, tossed to and fro by the changing tides. Without a solid foundation, they are at the mercy of the elements, unable to steer their own course. Law 41. Avoid stepping on a crack. The human mind is a fascinating paradox. Capable of extraordinary feats of logic and reason, it is also susceptible to the most irrational beliefs and superstitions. We see patterns where none exist, cling to rituals that defy explanation, and allow fear of the unknown to dictate our actions. This tendency toward superstition, while seemingly harmless in its milder forms, can be a significant impediment on the path to power. Those who succumb to superstition surrender their agency to forces beyond their control. They become prisoners of their own irrational fears, limiting their choices and hindering their ability to act decisively. They hesitate when bold action is required, paralyzed by the fear of tempting fate or incurring bad luck. This avoidance of imaginary pitfalls becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. By constantly anticipating misfortune, they fail to seize opportunities to take risks that could lead to greatness. Their world shrinks, their horizons narrow, and they become increasingly disconnected from the levers of power that demand courage, confidence, and a willingness to embrace uncertainty. Law 42. Incite envy but avoid arrogance. The world, my friends, is a stage where envy lurks in the shadows. Those who rise too quickly, who brandish their successes without a care, invite the daggers of resentment. To command power, we must understand that overt displays of superiority breed not admiration, but silent animosity. Envy, you see, is a beast most easily provoked by the obvious. When you flaunt your brilliance, your wealth, your triumphs, you stir a primal urge in others. The desire to possess what you have, to see you brought low. They may smile in your presence, but their hearts harbor a venomous envy. This is not to say that we should shrink from excellence. On the contrary, strive for mastery in all your endeavors. But temper your brilliance with a calculated humility. Let others discover your strengths gradually, as if surprised by each new revelation. Remember, true power operates subtly, not through brute force but through artful maneuvering. By cloaking your strengths in a veil of modesty, you disarm the envious and make them unwitting pawns in your game of power. Law 43. Work on the hearts and minds of others. Many believe power is wielded through force, through coercion, through the subjugation of the will. This is a grave miscalculation. True power, enduring power, is earned through influence. It is about winning hearts and minds, not breaking bodies and spirits. The human spirit, you see, is inherently resistant to brute force. The more you push, the more it will resist. But offer understanding, empathy, a path to fulfill their own desires, and you will find them flocking to your banner. To truly wield power, you must become a master of persuasion. Learn to speak the language of their desires, to frame your ambitions in terms of their own aspirations. Make them believe your cause is their cause, your victory their victory. This is not about deceit or manipulation, but about understanding the underlying motivations that drive human action. It is about aligning your goals with theirs, creating a win-win scenario where their success is inextricably linked to your own. Law 44. Disarm your enemy through charm and flattery. In the realm of power, we often encounter those who mistake aggression for strength, who believe that brute force is the only path to victory. They fail to grasp the disarming power of charm, the seductive allure of a carefully crafted compliment. Charm, you see, is a weapon far more potent than any sword. It disarms your opponents, lulling them into a false sense of security. It allows you to approach them with a smile, while secretly advancing your own agenda. Flattery, when employed with finesse, is the honey that conceals the bitter taste of your intentions. Everyone, no matter how powerful, craves admiration. By appealing to their vanity, you create a chink in their armor, an opening through which you can exert your influence. Remember, charm is not about being insincere or obsequious. It is about mastering the art of social intelligence, of understanding the desires and insecurities of those around you, and using that knowledge to your advantage. Law 45. Preach the need for change but be the first to act. People are creatures of habit, resistant to change even when it promises a brighter future. This resistance stems from fear, from the unknown that change represents. They cling to the familiar, however flawed, for it offers a sense of security. To overcome this resistance, you must understand that direct confrontation will only solidify their opposition. Instead, become the champion of change, not by force, but by example. Embody the change you wish to see. Let your actions speak louder than words, demonstrating the benefits of embracing the new. When others witness your success, their resistance will crumble, replaced by a desire to follow your lead. Remember, true power lies not in forcing change upon the unwilling, but in inspiring them to embrace it as their own. Law 46. Never appear too perfect. The pursuit of perfection can be a double-edged sword. While striving for excellence is admirable, appearing flawless in the eyes of others can breed envy, resentment, and distrust. People are inherently suspicious of those who seem too good to be true. The appearance of perfection creates an uncomfortable distance between you and others. It suggests an unattainable standard, making them feel inadequate and insecure in your presence. This insecurity can manifest as envy, breeding silent resentment that festers beneath the surface. Others may perceive your perfection as a form of arrogance, a subtle implication that you consider yourself superior. To avoid these pitfalls, embrace a touch of strategic imperfection. Allow glimpses of vulnerability to shine through, humanizing your image and making you more relatable to those around you. Law 47. Do not go past the mark. Victory is seductive, intoxicating. It can lead you to believe you are invincible, that you can push further, demand more. This is the trap of the mark. The desire for total annihilation, for absolute submission, is a dangerous path. Those who crave complete victory often end up sowing the seeds of their own destruction. They fail to see that even in defeat, there is a seed of potential, a future opportunity for alliance or leverage. Leave your opponent with a shred of dignity, a sense that they have not been utterly crushed. This act of subtle generosity will serve you far more than relentless pursuit of total domination. A vanquished foe, stripped of all pride, becomes a dangerous element, prone to desperate acts. A foe treated with a degree of respect, however, may prove useful in the future. Remember, power is about long-term strategy, not short-lived gratification. Your goal is not to obliterate your opponent, but to secure your own position and advance your own agenda. And sometimes the wisest course of action is to know when to stop. Law 48. Assume formlessness. We often perceive power as something rigid, unyielding, and permanent. We seek to build fortresses around ourselves, to solidify our positions, and to project an image of unwavering strength. But this very solidity can become a liability. When we become too attached to a particular form, a specific strategy, or a fixed identity, we lose the ability to adapt. We become predictable, our movements easily anticipated and countered by our adversaries. In a world of constant flux, adaptability is paramount. Observe the water, how it adapts to its surroundings, effortlessly flowing around obstacles. It does not resist, it yields, only to surge forward again, reshaping itself to the contours of its environment. This is the essence of formlessness. To assume formlessness is to cultivate a state of constant evolution, to remain fluid and adaptable in the face of changing circumstances. It is about relinquishing the need for rigid structures and embracing the power of flexibility. And so concludes our exploration of the 48 laws, a journey into the heart of power dynamics. Remember, these laws are not a set of rigid rules, but a framework for understanding the forces at play in human interactions. The true power lies not in memorizing these laws, but in internalizing their essence and applying them judiciously to your own life. Observe the world around you, recognize the patterns, and make conscious choices that align with your goals and aspirations. The path to power is not for the faint of heart. It demands courage, cunning, and an unwavering commitment to self-mastery, but the rewards are immeasurable. By understanding and harnessing these laws, you can shape your own destiny and achieve greatness in all your endeavors. If you found these insights valuable, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more explorations into the nature of power. And remember, the greatest power lies within you. Now go forth and claim it.